Hey everyone, welcome to IIT and Education channel. Now let us continue with the topic types of plants. Plants are of different types. It is often difficult to understand these types without using some basis of categorization. Now just think, if you take a handful of plants and if someone asks you, how can you differentiate between those? Is it easy to do that? No, right? We need some factor based on which we can categorize the plants. Okay, so that factor would be adaptations or habitat, and it is based on stems. Okay, so you can differentiate the plants based on the adaptations or habitat. Now it's important that you understand these terms first. Okay, so what is habitat? Habitat is the home, like how you feel comfortable in your home, right? If you go to some other place, then you'll feel like you will feel comfortable for only little bit of time, right? After that, what happens? You'll feel like, no, I want to go back to my home. I want to have my own place, my own rules and everything, right? So every plant will also have its own home, and every plant is happy and comfortable in its own home. And unlike human, the plants can't even survive in a habitat that is not of their own. Okay, so they can survive only in their home. Okay, so every plant, in order to live happily in its home, it will make some adaptations. Adaptations are the adjustments. What is that? They are the adjustments the plants make in order to live or survive the conditions that are present in their home. Okay, so it doesn't happen immediately. Adaptations and all this will take so many hundreds of years, and after that, every what do you call organism or plants or anything that wants to stay at that place, at that particular habitat, will develop some peculiar aspects. Okay, some unique things that will help that plant or organism to live in that particular place. Okay, that is their home. Why it is called home? From place it gets to home. It's because of these adaptations. Okay, from being mere place where by chance the plant has come to becoming home. Okay, that organism or plant makes so many adaptations. Okay, without these adaptations, that plant cannot survive in this place. Okay, so based on adaptations and habitat, we will see more about this. And now how about based on stems? This you know, you kids know, you have studied it in first grade, second grade, so basically it would be a mere revision. Okay, so now let us see. Now based on adaptations, as you see, what are the plants? Aquatic plants, terrestrial plants, insectivorous plants and parasitic plants, and there are also non-green plants. Okay, you can find these many types of plants based on adaptations. So terrestrial plants will show some sort of adaptations, and aquatic plants will show some other type of adaptations. In the same manner, the other plants too. Now let us see what are all these plants about. Okay, now first is terrestrial plants. These plants, what are these plants? Terrestrial means, what is it? Land. Okay, so these plants grow on land and are adapted to a variety of terrestrial environments. Why did we say variety of terrestrial environments? It's because if you roam around the earth, will you find only one type of climate and place? No, na. You will find many types of habitats as such, right? Like forests, okay, and grasslands, deserts, mountains, plains, right? So you will find so many types of lands, so many types of habitats, right? Everything will be different from one another, right? So now some plants can grow in forests, some plants can grow in grasslands, some can in deserts, and some in mountains, and some in plains, right? So we will see the peculiarity of each habitat and the plants that survive in this place. Okay, now see, forest plants, they thrive in shaded, humid environments of forests. So what are the typical characteristics of forests? Okay, forests will have warm climates, okay, and often shaded. They are often shaded. Shaded means there won't be plenty of sunlight reaching the trees. Okay, so you think that, oh, forest, there are so many trees and there'll be, it's all open, so there will be so much of sunlight and all that. No, that's it's because as there are so many trees, it is very difficult for sunlight to reach the leaves of the trees, right? So what are the examples of the forest plants? They're redwood, mahogany, ferns, orchids, hardwood trees like oak and maple. And these things, these examples, I know that you will feel scared to learn all this, but it is important for your Olympiads. They will ask you what are the forest plants. Like they'll give a mixed type of thing and they'll say what is the odd one out. Okay, so you have to check out all those. You should remember that redwood, mahogany, ferns, orchids, hardwood trees like oak and maple comes under the forest plants. Okay, so as I said, adaptations, right? For any plant to survive this condition of to survive in this forest, they need some adaptations. I already told you, right? What are the typical means most common type of adaptations that can be found among the forest plants is, so tall with broad and abundant leaves. Why is it that? It's because tall plants. Why you will find tall plants? It's because they have to get the sunlight, right? In order to reach the sunlight, the plants tend to grow taller and taller. Okay, and how about this abundant leaves, right? Because they have to make they have to go for the photosynthesis, right? Photosynthesis where leaves, right? So as leaves have to produce food using photosynthesis, like by the process of photosynthesis, the leaves will also be broad and abundant. So these are the adaptations that forest plants are have made. Okay, and now about the grassland plants. These are found in open, often dry areas with few trees. Okay, they will be dry. Okay, so now here, what are the examples of these grasses? Wildflowers and shrubs. What are the adaptations? Deep roots. You can understand, right? Why deep roots? It's because dry areas, you will have little water in the ground. Okay, so you need deep roots in order to get the water. Okay, now about the desert plants. Desert plants are adapted to extremely dry and hot conditions with little rainfall. See how different the forest and the desert. See, you can find so many different things in the nature. It's only that you have to enjoy the differences, right? So in forest there will be so much of rains and all that, and here you will have little rainfall, right? So extremely dry and hot conditions, also called as, these desert plants are also called as xerophytes. What are the examples? We all know, right? Cacti and some succulent plants like aloe vera and creosote bush, date palms, etc. Okay, adaptations. What are the adaptations? Their stem will be thick and fleshy. Right, now just think, why will their stem will be thick and fleshy? As I said, it's very hot, it's very dry, so the plants there have to store some water, right? So nature has made them to do this using their thick and fleshy stems. Okay, so if the thick and the fleshy stem, what can it do? It will collect and store water. And what does it do with water? Just think again. Why do they need water? They need water for photosynthesis, right? Why photosynthesis? Photosynthesis is a process by which the plant can make its own food, right? So we are done with this, right? Now this one, leaves are modified to spines. Why? Spines will protect the plant from other animals, right? And also it will reduce the water loss. If there is uh, what do you say, if there are spines, see, when the amount of heat, see, I am trying to make the concepts a bit clear. It's often not needed to know as why the leaves modified to spines will reduce the water loss, but it's better that you understand that so that it will sit in your brain. Okay, see, when there is more area, the heat that goes from this area is more. Okay, so when these spines come in between, right, so the area open to the sunlight reduces, right, and so there will be less water loss. And how about the long roots? As you know, dry, whenever you find dry, you should remember that there should be long roots. Okay, in dry lands, if there are no long roots, then it is impossible for the plants to survive. Okay, now how about the mountain plants? They grow in high altitude environments with cooler temperatures and sometimes harsh conditions, right? There might be snow in the mountains, and it will be very cool, right? So the plants need special type of adaptations for this. Okay, special adaptations. As soon as you see at that tree, now you can understand that this tree belongs to the mountains. How is that? It's because they often have this type of shape, okay, like cone. So that why this sort of shape has come is that if some rain or something falls on this, no, because there'll be snow and all that, it will often slide off. Okay, so that the leaves won't get rotten up and everything will be fine. Okay, so what are the examples? Alpine plants, mountain pines, and lichens. And these trees are, what are the adaptations they have made? As I said, trees are straight, tall, and cone shaped. Leaves have waxy coating. All this is because they want the snow and any water that has a that comes up on the tree to just slide off, right? And also, you know, with regard to this mountain thing, um, instead of seeds being in the, yeah, seeds instead of being in flowers, like in the flowers, what did I say? They will have ovules and all that, right? So this seeds, like in normal plants, you can find it in flowers and all that. You can find these seeds in cones. Where? Cones, right? Where? In mountain plants. Now the question in the Olympiad would be like, with where, in which type of plants you can find cones. Okay, so cones where seeds are present. Okay, even this is important. Cones where seeds are present, you can find it in the mountain plants. Okay, and these plants are cone shaped as such, right? Okay, now plants in the plains. Plains are characterized by varying climates of both hot and cold weather. Now deserts are hot, you can say that deserts are always hot, okay, and you can say that forests are always rainy, but you just can't say anything about plains because they have varying climates of both hot and cold weather. So just think, like the plants here, they can't actually be of one type, right? They can be of many types. So trees here can be of evergreen type or deciduous type. Okay, some of such plants, there'll be many types of plants present in the plains, but here we shall see, we shall categorize them like a broad categorization. If you want to make, you can say that it's evergreen type or deciduous type. Okay, now examples are mango, banyan, teak, etc. Okay, so what are the adaptations they have made? many branches, plenty of leaves and flowers. They may shed the leaves during the autumn. This type is called as deciduous trees. So what is the difference between evergreen type and deciduous type? Deciduous type, okay, after autumn season, they will shed all their leaves, okay, and they'll become bare. And after that again they'll get the leaves. However, evergreen type, it's not that all the leaves go off at once, okay. It will be like some leaves will go and some will be developing, and so every time you can find that the evergreen type will have leaves, green leaves always, okay. And deciduous type, you can find a time where the plant will be bare, okay, the plant or tree. So these are the adaptations. What are the adaptations? They will have many branches and plenty of leaves and flowers, right? Next, plants in marshy areas. What are marshy areas? Marshy areas are the places that are wet, clayey and sticky soil with water covering their surface, okay? And there will be always water in the marshy areas, okay? So just think, the how will the plants what does the plants do in that type of climate? So what they does is they have made their roots in a way that they emerge out of the surface of the marsh. So always you will find, usually in all the plants you will find the roots underground, right? But here you will find the roots to be coming out of the marsh, okay. So they will be like above the ground and above the marsh, okay. These are called as breathing roots. What are these? Breathing roots. Breathing roots. And breathing roots are typical of which place? Marshy places, marshy habitat, okay. So the other Olympiad question you may get is, where can you in which type of plants you can find the breathing roots, okay. So you can give this one. Most of the plants here are called as mangroves, mangrove forests, marshy areas, mangrove forests, okay. This is the association you should remember, and these are the examples. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna spell this because I get so much confused spelling this, because you may say something, I may say something, so instead of that you just go through this and remember, okay. Adaptations. And what are these adaptations? Breathing roots, as mentioned here, flexible stems and waxy coatings. Why flexible stems? Waxy coatings you can know, right? You can by this time you could have known that waxy coatings you'll get when there is lot of water and all that, okay. And flexible stems too, because they have to bear with the strong currents, right? So you will have the flexible stems too. And plants in coastal areas. Plants in coastal areas grow tall and straight and are adapted to survive conditions of salty water and heavy rainfall. Coconut tree is an example of it, right? Okay. Now about the aquatic plants. We are done with terrestrial plants. And whenever after going through the chapter, if you have any doubts, please let me know in the comments. I'll try to make it clear, okay. Now about the aquatic plants. What are the aquatic plants? See, this is water, right? The plants that grow in the water is called as aquatic plants. Now there are four types of aquatic plants. These are the emergent plants. What are these? Plants here are known as emergent plants. These are fixed plants. What are these? Fixed plants. And this one, underwater plants or submerged plants. What are these? Underwater plants are or submerged plants, okay. And these are floating plants. What are these? Floating plants, okay. Now what are these emergent plants, okay? How are they different from the rest of the plants? Now let us see. Emergent plants are fixed to the shallow water bed. What is this? Shallow water bed. It's because it's not deep, right? When it is not deep, it is considered to be shallow. I think you kids can understand this by saying that shallow means it's opposite of deep, okay. So if it is not to the depth, then it is called as shallow. Fixed to shallow water bed bed, but their leaves and stems extend out of the surface of water body they are growing in, right? The leaves and stems are extending, right? They are not, this part is extending out of the water surface. Okay. Now what are the examples? Bulrush, cattail, arrowhead and sedge. And what are the adaptations they have made? They are tall plants and have long and narrow leaves. They have tough and hollow stems, right? So now tell me, why tall plants? Just think. And why long and narrow leaves? It's because with this, okay, with these features, they can there will be so much of strong currents in the water, right? The water will be, they have so much of strong currents, and in order to have less resistance, the plants have adapted in a way that the strong currents won't harm them. Okay, so they have developed tall plant, they have developed tall structures and have long and narrow leaves. And how about the tough and hollow stems? They have to be tough because there will be a lot of strong winds, currents and all that. So tough is important. And they have hollow stems, okay, for this purpose. And how about the fixed plants? Fixed plants are fixed to the water bed with strong roots, right? So they'll have to come from deep, right? So they will have strong roots such that it will get anchored to the soil, and even then they will come out. Okay. Now what are these examples? Lotus and water lily. You can see at many places lotus and water lily, right? So lotus and water lily are fixed plants. Now when someone says that lotus, wow, lotus is so good, then you can just visualize that the lotus plant comes from this bed, right, water bed, and it's a fixed plant, right? You know so many things about lotus. Yes, we used to just see and just don't just get off with it, right? But now as we have learned it, just remember that whatever we have studied, that will be very helpful. Okay. Now adaptations, what are the adaptations they have made? Thin long stalks, broad leaves with waxy coating, stomata on the upper side of the leaf. Where will the stomata be on all other plants? It will be underside of the leaf. But here in the fixed plants you can find it on the upper side of the leaf. Thin and long stalks, broad leaves with waxy coating. It's because why did they have thin and long stalks? Just think. It's because whenever you see, won't you see the lotus just sitting on the layer of on the top of the water, right? On the top layer of the water, right? It won't go beyond the surface and be like this, right? No, they'll be just sitting here. So this thin long stalks, what happens is that it can coil and uncoil, like when the water surface, with the water surface, if the water surface is like this, right? So in order to, if the length of the stem is like this, in order to sit on this layer, what does the lotus do? It will coil itself. So it will coil, okay, and these are the roots. And when the water level goes up, right? So it will uncoil so that it will sit on the water. You got it, right? See how wonderful the nature is. Appreciate the nature, then you can remember everything. Okay. Thin long stalks, broad leaves with waxy coating. Okay, now we are done with this terrestrial plants and aquatic plants, right? So now I think this video has become too long. Okay, so what will I do is I will make another video, and I assure you that this will be the last video with regard to the plants. Okay, there we can see about the insectivorous plants, parasitic plants, non-green plants, and about the plants based on stems, all this, and this will be a short one, and we will conclude this chapter. Okay, thank you, bye, see you soon.